everybody. This is Chuck, and thank you for stopping by my shop for another video. That introduction was just a quick review of unloading the Industro-Lite mill. My buddy Dean was there to help, and my grandson. And Dean and I spent quite a bit of time trying to get the drawbar out of the head of the mill. And there's a photo there of the unit with that in there, with the drawbar in it. We actually tried heating the head with a heat gun, tried putting some of the instant cold, using a spray can upside down to dust off to cool the shaft. And we even used the game show of Phone a Friend, and got Keith Rucker on the phone and had him on FaceTime, and we talked about it, the problem we were having. It's a Morse Taper 3, and we just could not get that guy to move. And repetitively, lots of hitting at it and really trying to get that son of a gun to move, and we gave up for the day. Didn't want to damage anything, and we were not making any progress. So one of the ideas that we came up with, that we failed that first day, was putting a bearing splitter on that very front face behind that collar. And I think Charlie had a few brain farts that day, and it just wasn't working. And subsequently, I came back at it again, and we're going to drop into a video about that. So this will be an interesting. It's about the build and getting this done. Well, finally success, patience and success. So put the bearing splitter on front here, pressing off this bearing cap. And kept applying pressure, easy, and good old arrow coil, and hitting on the drawbar, and just kept giving it some time. I did try freezing this earlier and heating again, but she's loose. Gonna come out now. Gonna come out. These next photos are not of my mill, but I was very fortunate to have two different people contact me that have the Industro-Lite mill and send me some photos and information. One fella actually had all his original paperwork from when he bought the machine. It was used, but he got all the paperwork. And he has since sent that to me and shared all the paperwork with me. Very generous of him. And he's offered to supply any drawings or draw up anything that I need to make any parts for my mill. So as we just got discussing, that managed to get the drawbar out, and you can see this picture right here has the drawbar in this specific mill. Again, this isn't mine. But my goal, since I have the vertical head, was to mount my vertical head on the unit. And here's a picture of, again, not my mill, but it's a picture with the vertical head installed. My vertical head is missing the two clamps that hold the head on the unit. And this is pretty much what this video is about, is me attempting to replicate those clamps. I had some ideas on how to do it, and I didn't really have these photos that you're seeing right now, which shows a close-up of the unit, of the clamps. I may have attacked it a little bit different, but we're going to move on, and I will show you my progression and, unfortunately, my Charlie's. Charlie had some fun in here, and I think he invited Bozo also, just to double kick my ass. So hang on, and we're going to move on and discuss what I was attempting to do. Right here is a close-up of the clamps. You can see they're probably made out of cast iron. And actually, Keith Rucker contacted me and said, "Hey, if you want, I'll help you with this, and we can get them casted through Clark." And but I've opted to build them here in my shop. So let's move on with this, and hope you enjoy. Well, with my limited skills in Fusion, I did draw the clamps and 3D printed them, and you can see them installed on the machine there. So did that as a mock-up and a prototype to try to determine on what I was going to build and how. Well, I've been studying on how I would make these, and I think I got it figured out. I have my drawing, and everything, all the radiuses are off center, the center of the part of the drawing. So I've already over here in the lathe, I have a round here that's 7.5. My drawing is 8 inches, but I just cleaned the back of it up. You can see where the stripe was. There was an indentation in there. But going to take that, put it down onto the rotary table, which I have over here. My idea. Center spot on my rotary table, can bolt it down, and then my part will be sitting there on the rotary table, and it's going to be a lot of milling, but mill all this out. Now, my other thought is I turn this plate over in the mill, and in the lathe, and I take all that material down. So I'd end up with these flats in there with a collar. I'm going to think about that. I may do that. It's probably quicker to turn it on the lathe than to do it with an end mill on the rotary table. I got to think about that one. Okay, I've decided to go at the lathe. So you can see there I've got a radius of 2.5, which is to the step that's in the part there, that 1/2 inch step. So I've gone ahead and marked 50 thousandths beyond a 5-inch diameter, and I'll bring all that down to this surface right here, and that'll give me my shoulder there on the back side. Should give me the shoulder right back there. Well, I think I made the right decision here. I think this is quicker. So doing a 100,000th pass per cut. And get it kind of roughed out close, and then we'll clean it up from there. A lot of tips. Okay, little refresher course there. So I think I'm on the right path here. So I've got this roughed out. This is going to be thicker than the 1/4 inch that these are, just because the material's there, it doesn't matter. And I've got the step, and now I need to tree pan out this center to get to here. Then once that's tree panned out, then I go back underneath and cut that out. That's the game plan. Well, I think you can see a groove there in the face. I went to tree pan that piece out and broke the tool right off. I think it was the first time I've ever tried tree panning, so I said, okay, well, I know how to get this done. So I've got to punch a hole, and then I got a 2-inch drill bit there, punched a hole with the 2-inch drill bit. And then from there on, I went ahead and used the boring bar to get out to my dimension. Lots of cuts, but finally got there. That drill bit is a real stub, Morse taper 4, but I had to put a 4-to-3 reducer in the unit so that I could use the drill bit. Okay, I cut my piece out of my drawing, and the part's done, and you see I blued it up. And so taking the piece of paper and folding it in half gave me a center point. And so now I'm able to cut the piece out of the whole part. And I used transfer screws on the mill to find my hole centers. And now I'm just going to punch clearance holes for the bolts for the installation. Well, here's the part installed, and got it on the top and the bottom, and everything turned out really nice. I think they would have been really, really good, except one problem. You can see it right about now. Look at that vertical leg. I overcut it, and it is way too thin. So it probably would work, but that was supposed to be a 1/4 inch thick, that piece right there, that little leg. I overcut it and goofed. Charlie. So what's that get me? So I did discuss with Tom Lipton about welding on the back side of that vertical, but he said I would lose all the temper in the aluminum. So he suggested time to make it out of steel. Well, as I think I've discussed, my air in my machining on the aluminum. So I'm over here at the mill. There's one of the PLA parts that I had printed. Got the drawing, and I'm over here at the rotary table starting to look at the setup and trying to prevent a problem. The plate is too thick, so I'm actually going to have to cut all the way through the plate for my finished product. Then I may reduce it, I don't know. But I got myself notes to make sure that I remember to space it up so I can go all the way through, double check my lip, and then wrote down the procedures to kind of review this, which line I'm holding, where the center is, how deep I'm going, first cut, reminder to cut all this off first with the bandsaw, just getting everything ready and kind of mentally going through all the steps, how I'm going to hold the pieces down, just prep to try to prevent Charlie from helping me on this one. So this piece of plate wasn't flat, kind of had a high part in the center, so I decided to go ahead and clean it up. So I put it in the mill, this large fly cutter I have, and when I put it in there and I started to cut it, it was kind of cutting one side to the other. And I thought, boy, that's weird. Wasn't like that. And so I went ahead and machined the part, and you can see it there. Well, the other day I went and pulled the part out of the mill and started to do my cleanup, and I took the parallels out, and the parallels were two different sizes. Charlie got me again, just going too fast. So I'd actually cut a slope across this piece rather than it being straight. So I will have to clean that up. Well, as I mentioned, I cut a slope in that plate. So just went back over it real quick with the shell mill, and it's ready to move on. Another mistake corrected. So I thought I actually had filmed a little bit of the rotary table work, but I guess I didn't hit the go button. But just to show you progress, the blue mark there is the step, and then I'm going down deeper to go all the way through. So we'll just continue on, and probably got another about 300 thousandths to go down. Just to show you where I'm at. So right at bottom. Break that out of there, and then clean up. Both machines, the shaper and the horizontal mill, are stored in the back of my shop right now. You see there's a car on the rack, so everything has to move back, the welding table. I picked up these barbecue covers that work good to cover the machine. But hey, just a quick shot here. The new mounts are made. A little beefier than the aluminum version. That's the size of plate I had, and that'll work fine. I still have to detail them, radius the edges, and I'll probably do some sort of modification like this up here where it won't hang by. But for right now, I just needed to finish this up and get the head mounted so that I've got to build the drive for the head now and then actually go through the head and make sure it's ready to use. But success, a lot of rotary work, but it turned out. Well, appreciate you guys watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much, and we will see you on another Tuesday coming up.